there is a creature alive today who has survived millions of years of evolution without change, without passion, and without logic. It lives to kill. A mindless eating machine. It will attack and devour anything. It is as if God created the devil and gave him jaws.
Steven Spielbergs Dødens gab er ikke blot en decideret genial gyser, det er også en vaskeægte milepæl. Den allerførste sommerblockbuster, og samtidig leverandøren af et af filmhistoriens mest mindeværdige bæster. Her taler vi naturligvis om den store hvide haj, som terroriserede beboerne og turisterne på en lille idyllisk ø. Filmen skræmte millioner væk fra alverdens badestrande og ind i biografsalene, og nu kan Spielbergs klassiker omsider nydes i high definition, for Dødens gab, eller Jaws, som jo er filmens originaltitel, er nu ude på Blu-ray. Vi kigger kort nærmere på udgivelsen i dagens udsendelse, men du kan finde en grundigere anmeldelse af skiven inde på Films, og i stedet vil vi i dag tale mere om filmens tilblivelse. Vi har interviewet filmens Oscar-nominerede scenograf, Alves, samt den australske dykkerfotograf Rodney Fox, som filmede flere af filmens undervandsklip. Fox overlevede i øvrigt et af verdenshistoriens aller værste hajangreb i sine yngre dage. Så hvad er mere passende i en udsendelse om filmhistoriens mest frygtindgydende fisk, end at lægge ud med en gruopvækkende historie om dyret fra den virkelige verden?
I was the South Australian spearfishing champion in 1963, and 1 year later I had attended that same major competition trying to win the next year. After 4 hours, many fish had been speared by about 45 or 50 different competitors, so there was lots of blood in the water. Nobody had seen any sharks, but I swam out further than anybody else to try and get some fish that hadn't been spooked. I dived down and I was just about to spear a very big fish that would help me win the competition. The big shark, I didn't see it coming, grabbed me around the chest and knocked the gun out of my hand, the mask out of my face, and I was hooked through the water. I stuck my fingers in his eyes to try and help him go. The shark let me go, and then I grabbed him in a bear hug and held on so that he couldn't bite me around the belly. But I was still about 10 meters underwater, holding my breath. I had to let go and go to the surface. On the surface, the shark came up and swallowed a fish float full of fish that was attached to my belt with rope. It swam away, dragging me down underwater, and I couldn't get rid of the rope that was around my lead belt. And a miracle happened. The shark actually had bitten the rope in halves when it had bitten me around the chest, and the rope. I managed to get to the surface, and a boat was coming over to see what all this bright red seawater was. And quickly they rolled me into the boat before the shark came back and raced me into the hospital. And another miracle, with lots of great surgery, I was back in the water and diving again after about 4 or 5 months. After my shark attack, we'd made 4 or 5 films on great whites, and these have been sold around the world, in the United States and Italy and Spain and England. And so they had an idea that there was a place in the world you could shoot live great white sharks, but they thought it would be very difficult to get tame real animals to, of course, look like it was a giant shark, and also to do what they wanted it to do. And that proved very hard too, because the live sharks ended up being so graceful and wonderful in the water, it made their mechanical monsters look unreal. And although we shot thousands of feet of film, they used only about 1.5 minutes in the whole film because it made the big ugly beast look unreal.
It's a masterpiece. It's a great horror film, but it's also a film that's created this strong general perception that the great white shark is a scary, aggressive predator with, you know, very few redeeming qualities. And I know you fought for the preservation of the species. What sort of effect would you say that Jaws has had?
Jaws moved frightened a lot of people out of the water and made them hate sharks. And we can't go back on that, but people still watch it in fascination. It also developed a whole group of people who love and want to study and are interested in learning more about sharks. It put them on the world stage, and it showed that there aren't many great whites in the world, very, very few in numbers, and they have now been protected. And it's possibly because of the Jaws movie that such research and interest and study, and that's what my life has been made up, tagging sharks, putting satellite tags on them, so we can understand and find out what their incredible role is in the ocean. We need those sharks because they're our key predator.
That's a 20-footer.
25.
I was on the picture before Stephen. I was on the picture before there was a script. And they asked me as a favor, because I was a staff guy at Universal, and I could do it basically for nothing while I was doing a television movie. And Stephen hadn't signed on yet, or they were, I don't know what the deal was, but I did 24 conceptual charcoal sketches. And those were used to show the studio some of the problems or some of the activities of the shark based on the book. And my sketches ended up looking more like Moby Dick because I hadn't really researched sharks at that point. They just wanted an impression of what the shark activity was. So that created a big controversy on whether it could be made and how much live action, how much real sharks we could use, and how big it was. You know, it's a big conversation, and the Universal effects department said, well, they couldn't do it. They had bigger movies to do, and they were looking at it as a small shark movie, and so that's how it started, and that was my first impression. And then it got a green light, and then we got our first script. Stephen signed on, and then we started the process of scouting for locations, and then you just start the normal process. Reaction was incredible because when we filmed it, when the shark was working or not working, it made odd noises with the valves and the various mechanical activity that it had in it. So it didn't sound scary. It was sort of funny. The crew would laugh after we finished the shot. So basically, we were afraid that people were going to laugh. And when they didn't laugh and they started screaming, then we realized we had a movie that was going to be successful, and I think everybody else did. So, but up to that, we had some great trepidation of how the audience was going to react to it.
The trio of the film, I mean, of course, Jaws itself is a huge character, the shark, but also Chief Brody, Hooper, and obviously Quint. They're very charismatic and very, very memorable characters. Now, did you work a lot on trying to make the set design reflect their individual personalities? And in particular, Quint's boat, it's a very memorable place. Absolutely,
Martha's Vineyard. Edgartown was so perfect with the white picket fences and the architecture, and so pristine. I just wanted to embellish that and not take away. I added the beach gazebo and the cabanas and stuff just to make it a little more festive. But Quint was a real character, so I had a great opportunity there. I bought the boat in Boston, and it was a nice-looking boat, but it had very little character, and Stephen and I talked about it, and he wanted bigger windows so you could always see out, and I added a pulpit so that he could walk out and shoot the shark with a harpoon gun, and then I added the crow's nest and painted it black and maroon, and that was a chance to really do a character development and make a character out of the boat and separate him from everybody else on the island.
Blu-ray-udgivelsen af Dødens gab får ikke blot Spielbergs snart 40 år gamle klassiker til at ligne en nærmest spritny produktion, filmen lyder også godt, og så er der også en masse glimrende ekstra materiale. Noget af ekstra materialet befandt sig også på den gamle DVD-udgivelse af filmen, men meget af det er også nyt. Det er blandt en lang og fascinerende dokumentar, hvor i flere prominente filmmager diskuterer filmens arv og dens effekt på deres arbejde, og hvor flere af filmens skuespillere, og naturligvis også Spielberg selv, taler om filmens tilblivelse. Har også en dokumentar, der fornemt gransker det hårde arbejde, som blev lagt i at restaurere Dødens gab for inden Blu-ray-udgivelsen. Men vi anbefaler naturligvis, at I alle selv prompte finder ud af, hvordan Dødens gab tager sig ud i HD. For uanset om man er fan eller ej, så er det en uundværlig udgivelse for enhver seriøs filmentusiast. Og det var alt for denne gang på Films TV, men vi har endnu flere udsendelser på tegnebrættet, og snart vender vores ugentlige program også tilbage, hvor I vil kigge nærmere på alle de nye premierefilm. På gensyn. Husk, at du kan finde alle vores tidligere Films TV-udsendelser på Films under Films TV-fanebladet, og også på videovideo.dk, i iTunes og via vores gratis video-app.